can't say I'm at all surprised with the revelation earlier this week that a further 8 referrals involving children being strip searched by the Metropolitan Police have been made to the IOPC over separate incidents occurring between December 2019 and March 2022, where children aged between 14 to 17 were strip searched by officers in custody or made subject to more intimate searches outside of custody. So far, the IOPC have allegedly sent 2 of the cases back to the Metropolitan Police to investigate for themselves, whilst the others are still being looked into by the IOPC. Deputy Assistant Commissioner Lawrence Taylor said, "We understand the trauma and lasting impact these types of searches can have on people, especially young people, and understand the public's concerns following several cases. In response, we have already made a number of changes to the way we work to ensure that officers consider the child first and take a safeguarding approach. We are also in the process of reviewing complaints received over the past 3 years in relation to strip searches involving children under the age of 18. This includes searches outside of the custody environment where intimate parts are exposed. Strip searches in custody and searches that expose more intimate parts outside of custody are important in ensuring the safety of person being searched, as well as protecting communities from drugs and weapons. But they must, of course, be carried out appropriately and in line with our policy. We have already confirmed 3 cases have been referred to the Independent Office for Police Conduct for that important independent oversight of how police carried out those searches. These cases are known as Child Q, Child A and Olivia. We have now made a further 7 voluntary referrals to the IOPC. Now, I don't need to go over the Child Q and Olivia cases in this video, but I will link to the reports in the description that we put out at the time. But needless to say, police utterly failed to follow procedure and protocol, not only damaging the relationship between the police and the public, but also no doubt scarring the children due to the extreme humiliation of the act itself. The Metropolitan Police said the updates that have been made since the Child Q report was published include giving refreshers to officers over the further search policy, offering advice surrounding dealing with schools and changing the policy for people aged under 18. Officers must now also get permission from an inspector and have a conversation with a supervisor before carrying out the search. An adult must also be present. Now, if you watch the video I did on PACE and the procedures the police are supposed to follow in such cases, which I'll also link to in the description, you will see that these new updates were already in the PACE code, which simply shows me that upper management don't give a shit about the subordinates until somebody complains, when in fact they should be aiming to fix issues before they even get to that stage. An IOPC spokesperson said, "Following our further inquiries to the Metropolitan Police Service regarding cases involving strip searches of children, we have received 8 further complaint referrals from the force. The voluntary referrals relate to separate incidents which took place between December 2019 and March 2022, where children aged 14 to 17 were strip searched by officers. We have determined that 2 of these referrals were suitable for local investigation by the Metropolitan Police Service, which was finalising its own investigations into them at the point of referral. We are continuing to assess the available information to determine what further action may be required in respect of the others." Now, it's a very, very sad world where we, the public, get stitched up good and proper for failing to follow rules, to the extent that the police will often lie and create additional charges for us. But when it comes to them failing to follow rules, just a little update and some refresher training for an organisation that's been around for nearly 2 centuries seems to be appropriate for them to learn their lessons. The Police and Criminal Evidence Act 1984 is an act of Parliament which instituted a legislative framework for the powers of police officers in England and Wales to combat crime and provided codes of practice for the exercise of those powers. Unfortunately, unlike acts and statutes for the general public, it seems that failure to adhere to this particular act as a police constable doesn't necessarily hold any notable punishments, which is likely why they all seem to get away with it. Even private companies who fail time after time after time can have the police and government intervene in special circumstances, but when it comes to the police, it seems that all those who can do something simply want to ignore it and hope people don't make a fuss over it. I would like to think that those involved in these cases go all out and get the help they need to hold these cretinous fuckpigs to account. After all, the police doing these searches must be enjoying doing it, otherwise they would take the time to follow the rules. Sexual assault of a minor, sexual assault by touching, and I'm sure there's more. And I hope, to whatever powers there may be, that the police who allowed this to happen time and time again are taken from their posts and flogged in the streets before being handed over to the parents of the children. Now, I do realise that the Metropolitan Police has been taken into special measures, which I will discuss in a later report. At the moment, I'm collecting as much information from different sources that I can at the moment. I know you all know it's happened, but I want to try and get you as much information in one report as possible with regards to that. And until I've got that information, I'm going to hold back on that particular report. But it will be quite, well, say a lengthy report. We're probably looking 10 plus minutes at least. But until then, thank you for watching.